How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and do a contract called Finder's Fee. I apologise because I lost the very first bit of footage just where I'm kind of in the garage here, so I've not got the mission highlighted in the top right. But yeah, it was a contract called Finder's Fee, and it says in there that it's sort of recommended to use a metal detector. So for this one, I've grabbed the GMC Brigadier 8000. It's one of the DLC vehicles, I think, from Phase 4. Yeah, and put the metal detector on. There's a fair amount of vehicles that can have the metal detector, but not. There's definitely probably more that can't. Yeah, like I say, now I can't. When I scroll down, obviously I've already completed the mission. I just came back to get this first bit of footage, which yeah, is a bit of a pain in the ass because it kind of shows you, like on the first bit, you go for the pipes and it says to arrive about there, and you can see where I've drawn that patch of waypoints. When you look on the map, you can see a piece of cargo pretty clearly, and it was kind of obvious. I noticed that it was the pipes anyway. And again, I apologise because it's missing at the minute. You'll see it in a minute though when I get there and everything. And then once you find the metal pipes, for the first part of the mission, I've then got to go and deliver it to the village. Like follow up this road near where I delivered the stuff yesterday with the P512PF. And then there's a second part of the mission as well, which wants you to come over to this location looking for an oversized cargo container, which is like literally just in the trees like there, but again it's missing in this bit of footage because I'm sort of recreating the mission. And then you've got to take that to the trailer store, basically, like at the back of the trailer store. You can see my Voron Grad there and the semi-trailer. Yeah, I'm gonna take the metal detector for this bit and all the rest of it, but long story short, you don't really need it. Like, it doesn't explain it too well in the mission. Maybe they've kind of done it as a reaction to, I think it was a Mandra, where you had to metal detect and look for some old armoured cars, and that mission was a little bit confusing, just because it kind of said, you know, go down here or whatever, but it didn't really make it that clear where you're even supposed to metal detect in the first place, and the metal detector doesn't seem to have much range to it. But back then, I'm pretty certain that even if you found the armoured cars, like it wouldn't let you take them and deliver them and all the rest of it unless you actually metal detected it and got it. And again, they stashed them pretty well in that game. Yeah, and I've got a feeling quite a few people probably said, not going mad, but you know what I mean, just generally said in the threads and stuff like it was a bit of an awkward mission. So they've probably made it like a lot simpler this time, but it's sort of to the point where, yeah, I don't really see, unless you really want to, there's just no point in taking the metal detector. You can see it in a minute as well, I'm taking quite a bit of damage. I don't know, a couple of people have mentioned it in the comments, and I kind of agree that I feel like I'm taking more just random damage as you're driving along in this phase. I'm not sure if they've actually tweaked it and made it harsher or whatever. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. But it might also just be that this map's a bit more free and easy kind of flowing map. Nearly lost the back end there. Yeah, it could just be that. So you're picking up more speed in general, and obviously the higher, the higher the speed you go, and the more chance it's just going to hit you with a random damage. But I've definitely noticed it quite a bit. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Get yourself a goddamn horse, and then you got a roof rack with you. It was a bit awkward. It wasn't too happy about getting over that barrier. I can't remember off the top of my head if this was able to climb over the barrier when I did the review video on it, but I did just pop a tyre when I was going flying through the sunflower field. Well, I kind of made it through that. I think I smashed into the ditch on the other side. And that's affecting it a bit. I've noticed this, it was probably a phase or two ago, but when you blow a tyre on this game, it's pretty noticeable. It's like putting the handbrake on, really. It locks you up quite a lot these days. Yeah, cutting through here, just cruising across the countryside instead of following the roads. There is certain patches of mud. I've hit a few, and I don't really mind. It's not the end of the world. Once you learn where they are, you can either avoid them or attempt to go through them with some of the hefty trucks in the game. But yeah, I've hit a patch in this, and this ain't too happy about it. The burst tyre probably isn't helping the situation, but I've got a feeling anyway, like that it wouldn't do too great in this. You can see it does go pretty deep. It's definitely what she said, of course. Yeah, it's just pretty boggy, like kind of super mud, probably getting on for death mud. But again, I don't think they've particularly gone over the top with it. For the most part, you can roam around pretty freely on the maps. So it didn't take too long before I was like, sod it. You know what time it is. Just send in the goddamn horse. And I've done with it. And I'll edit a bit of that out, yeah. Came to this barrier. I actually hit it at a pretty shit angle. But I was editing anyway, because it did a big fat glitch. Yeah. Floor it. Floor it, ram into it, get over it, and we're off. Because you can see all this like countryside bit I'm driving over now, it's not really sinking me or anything like that. But generally speaking, I try and sit at like the top of hills if you can. You can see now, for example, when I'm like in this little dip, yeah, the mud gets pretty boggy. Started driving forward now and it was getting where it was like chewing it up. I sod it, fling a winch out before I try and floor it another 10 foot ahead. But yeah, you can see now I'm kind of sticking to the hills a little bit more. I mean, again, like this goddamn horse, so he knows what he's doing. It's not his first rescue mission. Won't be his last. This one's like easy meat. I didn't. Do you know what? Until I just said it, then I didn't even register this on the scale of a rescue. It's more like assistance. Which means I should have learnt my lesson by now, really. I should have just brought the loaf with me. But when I originally set the mission up, which again I lost the like first minute of footage, it was a pain in the ass. But I've also got Voron Grad at the garage because I kind of realised anyway that like even if it's gonna do the metal detecting thing, which I didn't know at this point, but I was kind of like, I'll do it properly. I'll set off with a metal detector. I kind of had a feeling what was going to happen because, like I said, I could already see the pipes on the map. But I figured, you know, I'll do it properly. I'll drive there with a metal detector. But I kind of knew even if I find the pipes and that, I'm going to have to go and take a vehicle with a crane and a trailer. So yeah, I've got a Voron Grad kind of set up in the garage as well. Just thought while I'm at it, I might as well fix the tyre. I mean, I just enjoy driving the loaf, but I didn't really think once I rescued this Brigadier that I could switch back. I was like, sod it. The loaf's doing his job just fine. We'll stick to cruising in that. And yeah, overall, I mean, this is one thing I like about this phase again. Because the maps are pretty sort of chilled out by comparison to some of the previous ones we've had, it just gives you a chance to use more vehicles. So even stuff like this, I mean, what's the phase called again? The Amur region, like with the Erska River and all that. I think that, funnily enough, is the region where we got this Brigadier, and it just wasn't up to the task. Like, it didn't handle it very well, and I've not really used it since. I'm not saying it's a terrible vehicle. It's probably, all things considered, one of the better trucks in the DLC selection, but kind of, yeah, I wouldn't. There's not a whole lot of great trucks in the DLC section. Like the Navistar, I still say that is a good vehicle. But yeah, they don't really. There's nothing that's really like sort of Tiger, Dolphin, 605R levels. But again, though, it's a nice vehicle. I've paid for the bloody thing, so it's nice to actually be able to use it a little bit. And again, it's not a terrible vehicle. It's still got the crappy version of the chained. By now, they could do with letting the American vehicles just have the muds. Make things a lot easier. Especially if they've just added, is it 3 new types of mud tyres? Well, I say 3 new types. I know the tread looks different. I don't really pay attention to much beyond that. Just if I like the tread pattern, and it's in the selection of tyres like muds, etc. that I like, then I'm in. Yeah, you seen here there was like a blue square, so that's where it said to drive to. So I'll get the metal detector out. It doesn't make any noise or anything like that. I believe at some point it flashed up. I don't know if it was just doing it to the winch, but it looked like a green circle was appearing around me as if that's the reach it's got. But you can see on the map there, you can see the pipes, and then literally drive 3 seconds to the left, and there they are. So I stopped now early and did the metal detector again because I just wanted to see if it'd find them. And that time I got a beep, and as soon as the metal detector's kind of unfolded, a yellow thing appeared above the pipes where it had like officially found them and was listing them. Say if I went into the map, yeah, they're highlighted now. So this is the point where, yeah, I'm going to go back, get the Voron, and I'm going to edit the first part out. I drive to the trailer store. I packed the loaf on there. I don't know what was going on. It fell off, but I was like, sod it. I'll just tow him behind me. Look at him like a little kid. Like, we're there yet, we're there yet. And at this point, I could have grabbed the 2-slot trailer because it's only the small pipe, so it's only a 2-slot piece of cargo. But the next half of this mission is an oversized cargo, which is a 4-slot, so you're going to need to take at least the ramped flatbed. If not, yeah, like a semi-trailer, a 5-slot trailer or something, so that's what I went for in the end. Not the step deck this time. I went for whatever this one's called, I can't even remember anymore. I quite like this trailer though. Mainly because it's got the sideboard things. Is it? Yeah, sideboard semi-trailer, I think. Yeah, just if you ever tip to the point where it unpacks your cargo, sometimes you have like an extra chance for it to at least stay on the trailer, so you don't have to get the crane out and do all that stuff. This crane is still pretty weak. I'm happy. I'm glad they've fixed the bigger cranes. They seem to be lifting stuff easier. But yeah, this the little mini cranes, particularly this Russian one. To be fair, the yellow American one ain't really much better, if anything. Yeah, they're a little bit on the weak side. It can still lift the loaf when it's fully retracted, but anything more than that, it just starts, yeah, trying to auto-extend itself. That's the most annoying thing. But we got him in there. That's what she said, of course. I wanted to do a bit of a bigger jump over this railway, but the speed wasn't letting me. And again, vehicles like this, I took the Brigadier as the metal detector because I kind of knew it's only got the metal detector on it. It's not particularly heavyweight, and then yeah, I'll bring something a bit more substantial to do the missions. And I've always liked this vehicle, the Voron Grad, even though it's not got diffs permanently on. I'd say objectively, the Voron AE is probably the best out of all three of the Vorons. I just don't like, unless they've fixed it, because I haven't drove it for a little while, to be fair, and I will be using it at some point on this map because I can kind of rotate through all the different vehicles. But yeah, the steering's too slow for my liking on the Voron AE, whereas this, just the steering's really nice on it, the power's nice on it. It was one of the original vehicles that was just really relaxed on the high gear. It doesn't keep moaning and saying stalling every 2 seconds. Yeah, so I'm basically at the point where the mission told me to go to. There's the Brigadier. And like I said, originally I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the case, because when I could see the cargo on the map, I was kind of like, well, I don't know. Maybe not so much what do I need the metal detector for, but it's kind of like, well, I can already see, yeah, the cargo. It's not like I'm trying to find something underground. But I wasn't sure if you need the metal detector to kind of make it exist. Like I said, I believe back in the day with those armoured cars, even if you just found them and you already knew where the location was, unless you physically took the metal detector there and officially detected them, it wouldn't count. But with this mission, long story short, I don't think it makes any difference. I'll kind of show you when I do the next one with the oversized cargo, but I'm as near as makes no difference sure that I could have just drove here in the Voron, found the small pipes anyway without the metal detector, put them in the trailer, and then drove them yeah, to this village, I think it says you got to drop it off to. And we rolled. Which, to be fair, the ruts that kind of run down some of these roads are pretty pronounced, to say the least. I could have flipped the Voron back, but again, life's goddamn horse, so it's 2 in 1 job. Sadly, I tipped enough though to where I did flick the pipes out of there. So this time I was like, I'll just reverse the loaf to the back of the trailer because, yeah, this crane struggles so much just when it's fully extended that instead of trying to reach over the back of the loaf. But got it packed and we're good to go. I assume now I'll stick it in high gear any second now, and yeah, well, you'll see in a minute like just how chilled it is with the high gear. It doesn't punish you every 2 seconds. In the end, yeah, you're best just driving off the road, but it's kind of tempting to stay on the road, I'll admit. Especially, I've just seen some of them sneaky fucking tree stumps all along the left-hand side. Like someone said, and it's true, Rockman put him onto tree stumps now. Tree stump man, he's gone to town with them. There's a load more on the right. I remember like a while ago someone added a mod where you could apparently rip the tree stumps out of the ground, but I tried it out and for the life of me I couldn't get it to work. I never ripped one out. I was gutted as well, because it kind of told me I was going to be able to. I don't even know if it's still a mod. I just know that, yeah, after about an hour of trying to rip tree stumps out and then not moving, I was like, okay, it's probably, get the hint. You can see like that section of map I just drove down there, kind of from when you get the pipes back to this road. Again, it's not like an insane difficulty or anything like that. Difficult is like, yeah, it's sort of a loose definition of it. But yeah, this map's not a complete walk in the park. Like, it's not just pure tarmac roads and all the rest of it. Someone said earlier, I think it was Juicer for Kane saying tarmac roads, it's definitely British. But I was saying, like asphalt, it sounds like something you'd ring your doctor about. So yeah, hello doctor, I've got asphalt. I'm not sure, but I've got a very long horn poking out of there, so it can't be good. It's your problem now. Yeah, that's that mission done. Just drop it off to a square there and it vanishes. And then for this one, it's over, if you got the map rotated where like north is pointing north, down in the bottom right hand corner. And again, with this one you can see there's the gigantic oversized cargo blatantly sat in the trees, very close to where it tells you to go. Which again, that side of it doesn't really bother me, it's just, it doesn't make too much sense with the metal detector. I don't really know if it's like a bad thing or a good thing. Like, long story short, I'm going to drive the Voron Grad down here and just grab the oversized cargo. I'm not going to bother with the metal detector. But then I'm just trying to think, if the game made it so you had to take the metal detector there, I don't know, do you know what I mean? I can't really complain, because strictly speaking, if I really wanted to, I could drive the metal detector there. It's not going to stop me or anything. But just knowing what I know, I had a feeling that it was just not necessary. So yeah, at this point I was like, well, I may as well just carry on taking the Voron Grad. I could go back to the garage and make another vehicle, but I've still got to drive all the way over to the trailer store, which I'm not that far off at the minute anyway, so it's like, sod it. And again, I like the Voron Grad. It's not like the most OP vehicle in the game, but it's pretty decent. And as well, considering there's been like, feels like everything gets a slight little background nerf each season and all the rest of it. Yeah, this thing still holds up pretty well. As I said as well, considering it's not got the diffs always on. But they are, you can get them, obviously, you go into the low range. I was not looking where I was going at all there. Told you, fucking bollard police. Sons of bitches. It's not gonna last long. Like, goddamn, I need more speed. Suspension be damned. Got a goddamn horse with me. So I mean, it's like now, for example, I'm driving along the road, and I was going to anyway, because half of this mission I'm going to be going off into like the wilderness, but yeah, I don't strictly have to drive along this road. I could have almost go as the crow flies if you want, which I quite like about this game, even like where there's trees for the most part. I must admit, looking on the right there, I wouldn't really want to cut through those trees with a truck and a semi-trailer. But yeah, you can kind of just point which direction you want to go, other than a little bit of a swerving around some of the scenery. You can just kind of, yeah, not make it up as you go along, but it just sort of depends what you feel like, and at least you can use like most of the vehicles, if not all of them. Whereas, yeah, various maps like, say, Erska River and all that sort of stuff, it's unless you're using the good stuff in the game, you just, especially for me with the purposes of making videos, like if I was gonna do a mission that's, say, going to take 20 minutes in a Zix 605R, but it's going to take 45 minutes in, say, that GMC Brigadier 8000 or whatever, was it 8000 or 9000? It's just, yeah, from making a video perspective, it's kind of like, do I want to waste an extra... Well, waste is subjective, but you know what I mean. Do I want to take up another 25 minutes of people's time when I could do the same mission kind of quicker? Whereas, yeah, with this map, I nearly did with the metal detector today. I nearly took the Ford Clip 9000, because that was one of the vehicles that was able to have the metal detector. And obviously, being a highway truck, it's generally pretty rare that you get a chance to bring it out. But I did notice, obviously, it's got no all-wheel drive, no diffs. And I was just kind of had a bit of a flashback of that those Wolfpack vehicles pre them adding the all-wheel drive to them. And yeah, I was just like, I don't know, am I going to kind of make a rod for my own back with that one? But at some point I will be cracking those sort of vehicles out. I'm sure there'll be a mission on here, if not this map, on one of them sooner or later, where it'll work. Well, there's only really, like, the Ford Clip 9000's always been pretty decent, I think. The GMC 9500 that was a highway truck, then they added all-wheel drive and all that, and that's a pretty solid vehicle now. Like, it's just pretty much in the category with sort of the normal trucks. The only highway truck that's kind of still, I would say, objectively sucks these days is that International Transstar, is it? Like the little highway truck. And again, I don't dislike it. Certainly, I remember it was nice to drive and all that, like nice steering and all that on it. But it's just the fact that it's not a very big truck, the tyres are pretty small, it sits pretty low, and it's got no all-wheel drive and all that. It'll, yeah, kind of gets eaten alive pretty quick. And again, I mean, all these sort of roads kind of... I'd easily say these sections are more difficult than most of the parts in maps like Black River and Smithfield Dam and all that lot. And even the maps like... I'd say this is like pretty similar kind of level to, is it Wisconsin? Phase 3. Like Black Badger Lake and whatever the second map was called. Yeah, and like, these sort of sections are definitely, again, like, difficult's a bit subjective, but it's certainly not a walk in the park. You're not just going to bring the highway vehicles down here and they're just going to walk their way through. And again, the Voron Grad's always been pretty decent because of just how chilled it is in high gear. I'm surprised, I don't know why I'm not in high gear. Well, there you go. But even when you hit bumps and all sorts in high gear in this truck, it doesn't just throw in the towel, it kind of tries to claw its way back out of it. And it's just got quite a nice stable pace in general. So you can see there going along the road, like, I could have swerved off to the right there and kind of avoided the muddy road section, but off to the right, or the tree stumps there, but you can see all the, like, pretty pronounced bumps in the terrain and all that. So again, I prefer it as a method of restricting us over just pure super mud or death mud. But where I did get that Brigadier stuck, yeah, like I said, they haven't gone over the top with that. It's one of them. I could see some little section like that being boggy between like the peaks of the hills. So yeah, overall I think it's like pretty well balanced map. And as you can see now, this is what I wanted to test. That's kind of why I took the Brigadier for the first one with the small pipes, because I wanted to do it properly, do the metal detector, see if it beeps, see if it revealed the pipes to where they show up on the map and all that. But then for this one, I wanted to see, can I just drive here, grab this cargo container, pack it, and I'm on my way. The only difference I can notice so far is that I'm sure if I brought the metal detector and did it now next to this cargo container, it'd bring that little yellow diamond thing up above it, and again it'd show up on the map. But I don't know, is that... it's not really worth anything to me in and of itself. I mean, strictly speaking, with some vehicles, well, the problem is, because this is what I was looking at the beginning, was like, some vehicles you can put the metal detector on and a saddle, so you could have a trailer as well. But there's no way of putting a metal detector and a crane on, because they just kind of sit in the same place behind the cab. They sort of occupy the same space, so it's never going to let you put both on. Which means you're going to have to bring, if you want to bring the metal detector, that is, yeah, you're going to have to bring 2 vehicles. Unless you want to get imaginative and creative with getting the loaf. I could get this cargo container in the trailer with the loaf, but yeah, I certainly couldn't guarantee how long that's going to take. I've done it before in like a minute or two. I remember doing it on, funnily enough, that Wisconsin map, Black Badger Lake. Did it with the Kolob, getting a load of metal beams back onto the 8-slot trailer that I rolled. But yeah, it's like a crane does make it easier, even though these cranes are weak as shit these days. Yeah, only made it just down the road. Already managed to roll it. See there, I got a bit unlucky, but it was close to where the sideboard kept it in the trailer, but it was not to be. So again, it's like, god damn it. The old crane. Well, I just wish they'd made like this little crane strong enough to lift cargo even at full extension and all the rest of it. It probably could lift 1-slot cargo at full extension, but it's not like in this oversized cargo container. I got a bit lucky there because a couple of phases ago it got really fussy with like when you're packing stuff in the trailer, it keeps saying like something like impossible to pack or whatever the hell it was, some warning message that I didn't really want to listen to and acknowledge, but it was reality. Yeah, they seem to be a lot less strict with it. I mean, that oversized cargo container was just about to tip out the trailer really if I'd left it, but I quickly scrolled down to pack cargo, and yeah, we got it in there. That's what she said. And then at this point I kind of had 2 options. I could either follow the road, which I'm going to go down. If I really wanted, I could have kind of jumped on the rail tracks and just followed them down. But I didn't for 2 reasons. One, I know there's kind of like the railway sits on a bit of a bump. If you swerve off to the left or right, it gets a little bit tippy, and yeah, with this oversized cargo container, I've already rolled it, so I was like, I'll probably skip that. And then the second thing is, it's as much as I like it, I'm not complaining in that sense, but the railway makes it like very, very easy to travel around the map. So just for the sakes of a little bit of difficulty and variety, I'll stick to the roads. I can't drive for shit. As well, pretty soon I'll get to exploring what's the next map? The Institute, or the Institute, I can't remember. Yeah, because I believe the Pike vehicle, the new step phone number Pike, is on that map, and I want to get that pretty soon. It looks like quite a good vehicle. I've heard pretty good things about it in the comments, and yeah, I'd rather get it sooner rather than later, because I'd like to do some missions with it and then get a review video done on it as well pretty soon. I'll be doing a review video with the K700 and that as well, but I was just thinking off the top of my head if it can have trailers and stuff. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't. Yeah, I can adapt a few of the mission tests I do. See, I believe like going through there, I didn't have to drop out of high gear then, which is pretty nice. If you ever need to do the old one-handed rally special driving, this will be one of the vehicles to choose. Hassle free. Oh yeah, while I remember as well, I heard a glitch going on, speaking of the K700, with the engines. Apparently when they release like this phase and that, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, it kind of sounds like it probably wasn't, but it made it so I believe the vast majority of upgrades, even if you started a new game, apparently like all the engine upgrades and everything would be unlocked. Now they've patched it, but apparently people that are going to the K700 upgrade location, the engine's still locked even after they've got that, so it's weird. Like that patch they did, it's a bit odd, because normally when they do a patch it's not necessarily like a full-on update, where it's gone to like version 1.35 now or whatever it is. And yeah, for the most part I can't personally really tell anything that supposed patch has fixed. When you do the winch, it still brings up the damage menu, and that's probably one of the most annoying, consistent little minor bugs that I've had this phase. But yeah, I've not really noticed anything. I know a couple of people have said they've had issues with their save and that. I think some people as well with hard mode. Apparently hard mode has kind of reverted back to normal mode. So possibly that patch was to fix that. But I've not got like a hard mode anyway. That's what she said. See, there's like taking random bits of damage. I mean, it's not the end of the world. That's why I do. Well, one of the reasons take a goddamn horse for me. But yeah, I believe even then the loaf might have took a bit of damage. He never takes damage. Not like driving along like that. Obviously, you're gonna launch him off a cliff and all that. Then there's a possibility of such things, but. Yeah, it does seem to be a little bit more trollish. But I think it was Justin Lynch in the comments who said, which is true, it's like when you're driving along the roads, they're actually pretty chilled these days. So like, you don't really just take random damage on roads, which you used to a bit more. But yeah, I've kind of noticed a bit more damage consistently, like rallying across the countryside. But again, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt, because rallying across the countryside is probably part of the issue. I will admit that. And yeah, mission done. Another one in the bag, 9,200 I believe it is, which, yeah, not really that important anymore, but I just kind of like to know if they're ripping you off and being pretty stingy with the money. That's not too bad. Job's a good one. Life got it done. Yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, because he's a goddamn beast. And I'll be back soon.